Right, welcome to International Full Slope Timeline Hangout number 64. I know I keep promising this will be live, the next one will be live, next one will be live, next one will be live, but this one is pre-recorded because I'm calling this the rest of the backlog. The last one was called Clearing the Backlog. This is the rest of the backlog. And table creaking, sorry about that. And there's a lot here. Anything I can't clear will be, I'll deal with it sort of piecemeal. But there's a lot going on what to cover. I keep saying I will not comment again on this disgraceful Prince Andrew affair, but I feel I must make final commentary on it. It's absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, I'm going to record this in several chunks and play around. First, I will deal with Prince Andrew, the falsely accused and stitched up Prince Andrew. As you may know, if you've been following this case, Andrew settled his lawsuit with the odious Virginia Graef for an undisclosed sum, with no admission. The claims have been made that she pressed for that he's paid her millions, but Royal Insider lady Colin Campbell, who knows about these things, she says it will be more 5 figures with a substantial donation to a fake charity. Let's call it what it is, a fake charity. Another title lady, the wonderful, absolutely wonderful lady Victoria Hervey, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She made a claim that the photograph of Andrew with the then Victoria Robert, the then Virginia Roberts, that it was a fake, and she appears to have done a lot of work on it. And coupled with, I've written an article or two about this, coupled with what Lady Colin Campbell says, I'm inclined to believe this is indeed the case, because they, according to Roberts, they went to Tramp on March the 10th, March 11th, I think it was night of March the 10th, early hours of March 11th, 2000 and, was it 2001? Anyway, it was a very, Lady Colin said it was the coldest day of the year. I checked that, and it was indeed a very cold day. So would she have been dressed like that at Tramp nightclub? Not only that, but Lady Victoria Hervey says that, and she's adduced evidence of this, that she was wearing those same clothes at Naomi Campbell's birthday party. I think it was the following year, or sometime later. Again, what was, even if it was genuine, what's the photograph prove? It shows a very slightly uncomfortable Andrew with a girl who's having the time of her life. And it was, like I say, Lady Victoria is very compelling, and indeed this whole thing is complete rubbish from the beginning. And again, as I pointed out, the photograph appeared first in 2010 or 2011, and there were press reports to expect the extent that Andrew had done nothing wrong. It was only in December 2014 when she brought this other legal action. She slimed Andrew and Alan Dershowitz, and it was January the 2nd, 2015 that Andrew was first accused of what, he had sex with me when I was underage. Not in London, he didn't. The whole business is really horrible, and she's a totally horrible woman, and I can only hope that at some point, I've said this before, but I can only hope that at some point the same thing happens to her as happened to Jeffrey Archer, Jeffrey Archer had sex with a prostitute. This was many years ago, and when she realised who he was, she sold the story to the paper, and they set Archer up, and his agent met her at Victoria Station with £2,000. He sued the Daily Star newspaper, and he won a £500,000 judgment. Well, a decade later, when he decided to run for Mayor of London, one of his co-conspirators, decided to spill the beans. And to cut a long story short, Archer had used a fake diary to alibi himself, as it were, and the real diary was produced at the trial. He was charged with perjury and, I think, producing a false instrument, something like that, procuring a false instrument, and he ended up with a 4-year sentence. Now, that was £500,000. Whatever Virginia Graef has managed to screw out of Andrew, if it can be shown that she procured a false instrument, if Lady Victoria sticks with it, I don't see any reason why this odious woman shouldn't be in very, very deep trouble. I mean, she's admitted recruiting girls for Epstein. She claims she did it under duress. She wasn't under duress. And duress will account for certain. I mean, a certain amount of mitigation, if you like, our age. But this isn't a blanket ban. Blanket ban on prosecution. You know, 14, 15-year-olds are regularly tried for murder, tried as adults in the United States. I cited the Slender Man case in which two 12-year-old girls, what they did to that girl who was being a friend was they were tried as adults, so both received very heavy sentences. Well, they tried. They spent 3 years on remand, and they were tried, and they were given heavy sentences for this attempted murder. And again, one more time, he broke royal protocol by associating with somebody who was a convicted sex offender. As far as he knew, Epstein was convicted of procuring prostitutes. Prostitution isn't illegal in Britain. That's all he knew. And so what? Mike Tyson, as I've pointed out many times, Mike Tyson is a convicted rapist. As soon as he was convicted of the rape of Desiree Washington and given a 6-year sentence, was he forgotten? No. They couldn't wait for him to come out of jail and fight again. Some people said that a lot of them didn't believe that he'd raped her. Others thought she deserved it. Many just didn't care. And he resumed his career. And he still makes occasional appearances on sports programs now. There are lots of people out there with terrible antecedents, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have why people shouldn't associate with them. Obviously there are limits. I mean, judges and police officers, for example, must not associate with known criminals and people in positions of authority. Well, criminals with a capital C, professional criminals. But the way Andrew's been treated is absolutely outrageous. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Check out my videos, The Prince and the Whore, The Prince and the Whore Part 2. You'll find those at BitChute. Prince Andrew Not Guilty, and I've written articles about it as well. And I say Lady Colin and especially Lady Victoria have done marvellous work. Right, there's a lot of other stuff which I'm going to deal with in no particular order. Found a recent article. It actually goes back a couple of years. Bay City woman made bogus claim that friend raped her. Now faces felony, police say. It was behind a paywall, but somehow the paywall's been lifted. But I'll be adding that to the Force Rape timeline at some point fairly soon. Marilyn Manson. As you may know, he is I don't know if he's still working, but a musician. He was accused of some woman, Evan Rachel Wood, of rape, and now he's suing her. I don't think she's. I think he will win that, because these women are so utterly pathetic, utterly pathetic. Now this is interesting. One of the false accusers of Bill Cosby has reared her ugly head again. Her name is PJ Masten. A former Playboy bunny says she's received death threats speaking out against Hugh Hefner on A&E's Secrets of Playboy. Hugh Hefner died a while back. He was a friend of Cosby. And Masten was a bunny girl. She accused Cosby of raping her, and now she's making allegations against Hefner. Oh, died in 2017. Hefner. I didn't think it was quite that long ago. And she's been. It's more about covering up. But, other Playboys, other Playboy bunnies are not so happy about it. I mean, they made all sorts of ludicrous allegations. What will I say about you when you're dead? Think about that. Think about that. Right. This is domestic. Priest John Clahosi not guilty of historical rape charge. A Roman Catholic priest accused of raping a woman in 1986 has been found not guilty. These women, they really are utterly pathetic. And she made this claim in 2019. Absolutely, they are utterly pathetic. Utterly pathetic. This isn't a rape thing, but this is a bloke throwing away his career. Serving Met police officer convicted of soliciting a prostitute in Edmonton. PC Tristan Downing was arrested during Operation Edmonton, targeting men who exploit sex workers. Not the rhetoric. Men who exploit sex workers. Not men who use prostitutes. Men who exploit sex workers. And I've no doubt he'll be sacked for that. I think it's very unfair. I mean, it really does amaze me that police officers, more police officers marry nurses and vice versa than anything else. But I can understand prostitutes having a fascination for police officers, but why would a police officer go with a? Anyway, he'll probably be sacked. But it's. I mean, if you've seen any of my other writings and some of my videos, you'll realise I'm no great fan of the police. But this is very unfair. We have here Cumbrian track. Child rape, Cumbria crack. Cumbria crack. sounds rather human to me. Child rape case botched by a South Cumbrian school. Findings by a school investigating the rape of a 9-year-old by a fellow pupil. Yeah, I mean, I think it's 12-year-old, wasn't it? The report says that a 9-year-old victim at the centre absconded from the school in November 2006. 2006, with two boys aged 11 and 12. The victim was subsequently raped by a 12-year-old. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's really. I mean, 12 years old. I mean, when I was 12 years old, we didn't even kiss girls. girls were, you have to be a bit older for. I first kissed a girl when I was 14. She was 12 actually, and I wasn't the first one she kissed. And she stood me up twice, but there you go. This is really horrible. The 12-year-old was interviewed under caution, never returned to Appletree. I don't think he was prosecuted either, which, well, I can't accept it's consensual. I mean, even if she consents, a 12-year-old, no, it's just you know, it's horrible. This is rather interesting. I might put a bit of this on the video. This is Shawna, a life on the sex offender registry. This was this shows what a mockery these registers are. When she was 19, this girl had sex with a 14-year-old, and the kid's mother reported her, and she was bludgeoned into pleading guilty or facing a massive sentence. And she's a convicted sex offender. I mean, it's just, it isn't the same. Well, a 19-year-old having sex with a 14-year-old, a 19-year-old youth having sex with a 14-year-old girl shouldn't happen, but a 19-year-old girl having sex with a 14-year-old boy, no, it's no. I mean, that's all wrong. Anyway, she's in Oklahoma, and that's just, I think it's absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. When this hysteria over sex offences. I mean, you've got people. It isn't so bad in this country, but you've got people in the United States who've been put on sex offender register for public urination. If you can imagine that, public urination. It's absolutely outrageous, these sex offender laws. But that's Shawna. I'll make a note of that. I might include that on the video, a bit of it.
When I was a teenager, it was my birthday, and decided to kind of have like a little party together, and we were drinking, dancing, and doing things like that. And then it ended up that the underage male and I slept together. He put his arms around me and he was like, well, I just don't want you to think I'm taking advantage of you while you're drunk. And I was like, I don't think that. The next morning, his mom called me and she said, my son hates me. And she said, I just filed against you. I got a call from an investigator and they said they wanted to talk to me and ask me some questions. And I went, and she said if I was honest, I wouldn't get thrown in jail. I was basically told, if we go to trial, you will get 20 to 25 years for this if they find you guilty. If you take a plea, minimal time, lifetime registry, lifetime probation. I am defined under the registry. When you look me up, child molestation. Actually a level 3, which is the worst of the worst.
There's a case here from North London. I won't name the dude because I'm going to say some things about it. Jailed for raping girl 7-year-old. The crimes happened between 1979 and 1983, beginning when the girl was 7 years old. He was between 14 and 17. The victim came forward to police more than 35 years later, and an investigation was launched. And there's all sorts of praise here for the victim. it's obvious the relationship of him to the alleged victim. I don't believe any of this. I don't believe any of it. Where are the medical records to start with? I might drop him a line actually. Oh, he got 6 years. Oh, well, that's still 6 years for a 56-year-old. I mean, these pathetic women. And what we have here, this is not totally unrelated. Rise in police recorded rapes and sex crimes in wake of Sarah Everard's murder. Right, just in case. Well, if you come to this video a few years down the line, and perhaps you're on the other side of the world, Sarah Everard was a young woman. I think about 31. I think during the coronavirus lockdown, a serving police officer named Wayne Cousins, he kidnapped her by artifice using his warrant card. It was his day off. He handcuffed her. This was in London. Drove her down to the south coast where he lives. Raped her, murdered her, and disposed of her body in a gruesome fashion. He was never going to get away with it. And he's doing a life sentence there. He will never see daylight again, thankfully. And it caused a big, you had the usual suspects. I think women against rape and these so-called end violence against women coalitions there. And there was a big vigil for or something, and the Duchess of what is Kate now? Our future Queen, maybe. She turned up and left a flower or something. Really horrible case. Sexual offences. It says 164,763. Rapes account for 37% of all sexual recorded offences. I mean, no, it says that there were 63,136 rapes recorded in the year to September. This is garbage. These are not real figures. These are not rapes reported. I don't think these are rapes reported to the police. These are. I'm not sure. But there's ONS. They do these surveys and they extrapolate from them. But if there's been that many rapes, they're just absolutely ludicrous. A lot of these are historical in nature. What happens lots of time is that if there's a big report of a rape, if there's a rape scene in a film or a child sexual abuse storyline in a soap opera, you get loads of these women, they're triggered, they have flashbacks which are not real, and they think raped years ago or as kids. And I think it's what happened to that bloke in North London. And sometimes, these rape crisis centres, instead of telling these women that they're not real, like they prey on them. They do prey on them. Sometimes we would go to the police, and innocent men end up in prison as well. If you think I'm exaggerating, on the timeline you'll find number of cases. Check out the case of Diana Green, an actual rape, a really horrible miscarriage of justice. Diana with D-I-A-N-N, 2 N's. Diana Green. Also the case of Rodney Anderson. Rodney Anderson? From Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma? The Operation Matisse. Look on the page for Operation Matisse, which is 2006, and follow the links. And these cases, they're not real. They're women. They get these ideas in their heads. Some are just lying, of course, but I mean, I think the majority of them are women. They have these what they think are flashbacks, but they're not flashbacks at all. I said these were going to be in no particular order. Here we've got a victim of rapist monks in Scotland wins record damages 40 years after abuse. I mean, this was, again, you know, I don't know how much of this I believe, almost none of it. A couple of celebrities here. The musician Snoop Dogg. I suppose you'd call him a musician, rapper anyway. Snoop Dogg has been accused of sexual assault. I'm not sure that includes rape. Snoop also claims the allegations of two third parties will claim under the federal sex trafficking statute. No, I don't believe that. I mean, the Jane Doe accuser. I've said before, I wrote an article about this. These Jane Does, I mean, okay, if women anonymity in a criminal case, yeah, okay, and anonymity before charge for the accused, but civil cases, no. So I think that'll be thrown out. That's complete bull. And Johnny Depp is storming marriage to the physically gorgeous but toxic Amber Heard. she's heard, the attorney claimed, was raped while the partner of actor Johnny Depp. In other words, I mean, but this woman has zero credibility, even though Depp lost that libel action in London. For the record, I've actually appeared opposite both the judge in that case and the barrister, the defence barrister, many years ago, when the judge was I think it was a QC, it was a barrister anyway, and I think the barrister was now QC. Sherborne, his name is. That was in my successful defamation action against certain odious individual. It's an interesting, very recent case here from India. She says it was rape over a 4-year period. He says it was extortion. She hated it so much she kept going back again and again and again. Yeah, I'll put that on the back burner. Won't be reported for a while. I don't want to mention any more about Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, etc. But so I just hope that he's eventually resolved and he's fully acquitted. Oh, another false, well, a celebrity allegation. An actor named Noel Clarkson. I can't say I've ever. I don't watch a lot of. I was in Doctor Who, yeah, for 5 years. Talk of the town, disgraced TV star Noel Clarkson. Noel Clark, not Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson. This talk of the town, disgraced TV star Noel Clark's record company has been dissolved. Why is he disgraced? Because a woman accused him of, I don't know, whatever, and then a large number of others jumped on the bandwagon. I'm inclined not to believe any of that. Oh, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. This is from news.com.au, Australia, but it's an American story. Case dropped against US burglar after it was revealed key evidence was collected from prior rape. A theft case has sparked outrage in the US over the unethical way the female offender was identified using DNA collected from a prior rape. Should say prior rape allegation. Charges have been dropped against the US burglar after it emerged police identified the woman using DNA she provided as a rape victim. The unnamed woman committed a property crime last year in San Francisco and left DNA evidence behind at the scene. Actually investigated burglaries in San Francisco. That is surprising. The woman was raped in 2016 and the DNA evidence collected from her rape kit was put into a database that police had access to. And this is the case has sparked concerns that sexual assault victims in the US will think twice about reporting an attack. Well, this is a burglary. What if her DNA be found on a murder weapon? It's interesting. It's interesting. This is something which. This is really an issue about sexual assault. I mean, there are some people out there who are like it's all on to be DNA tested. The late Jill Saywood, who was a rape victim, a victim of the quite shocking Ealing Vicarage rape, she upset the sexual grievance industry by saying that date rape wasn't the same thing. I tend to agree with her, what she went through. And her boyfriend and her father had their skulls fractured as well. Really horrible case. She wanted all men. I think it was all men to be put on the database. Yeah, they want this total state. Right, let's look at a few older cases. This is from 2015. Footballer cleared of city rape. Ex-Benfica player sobs in the dock as verdict passed. A 20-year-old admitted having sex with a 24-year-old woman last summer, but denied raping her. During a 5-day trial at Liverpool Crown Court, prosecutors alleged he had sex with a woman without her consent. They said she broke his flat after having sex with another man. I don't believe these women. I believe them. You know, she goes to his flat with jury took just half an hour to find De Silva not guilty of rape. He said the woman was awake and grabbed at his top before they had normal sex, during which she hugged him, but admitted that at no point did they speak. I mean, they are absolutely pathetic. I mean, this woman is clearly a slut, and perhaps she's on the take as well. I don't think I'll be. I might add that to the timeline. I don't know. 1999. This is Hillary set to ditch Clinton. Yeah, Hillary Clinton meant to be about to divorce Bill. That was just after the Juanita Broaddrick, I'll get it right in a minute. The Juanita Broaddrick allegation claimed that Clinton raped her in 1978. No, I don't. A lot of people were taken in by this. Judge Lee Piero was taken in by it. This is complete garbage. Hillary's a crook, an outright crook. Bill, he couldn't keep it inside his trousers, and he had the women queuing up queuing up for him, and he would take advantage of them. Well, he wouldn't turn them down. But I don't believe any of the rape stories. I mean, that Monica Lewinsky affair was absolutely it wasn't an affair. It was he used the poor girl. I mean, that's just gross. It's gross. They give your boss a blowjob in the office. That's gross. This is also from 1999. A woman raped on her way to work at a McDonald's restaurant was docked a day's pay for missing her shift. That's absolutely outrageous. Yesterday, after the rapist was jailed for 6 years, McDonald's admitted they were wrong and apologised. I mean, there must be a joke there about a Big Mac or something, but no, that's he only got 6 years. We got here. Oh yes, this is another reason. One of the main reasons I don't believe any of this garbage about unreported rapes and women being I just froze. This is last month. Rape suspect found after being stabbed by teen victim. Police. Tulsa. Police in Tulsa say it's Tulsa, Oklahoma. Police in Tulsa say a rape victim's actions after the assault led to alleged attacker's arrest. Authorities say a 15-year-old student reported she wasn't feeling well, left school and walked home. While walking home, she said an SUV pulled up next to her and the driver offered her a ride, and she got in the car. Don't teach these kids anything. Instead of driving the victim home, the victim said the man parked and sexually assaulted her. However, he took her home after the alleged assault. That's half decent of him. According to the Tulsa Police Department, the alleged attacker followed her into her home, which is when she went to the kitchen and grabbed an eye. He might have been intending to murder her, you know, and rob the place. She swung the knife at him, but wasn't sure she actually cut him. At that point, the man left the home. I bet he did. Authorities say the victim did stab the suspect, who went to a local hospital for treatment. While at the hospital, he told staff that a stranger stabbed him, so they called police to investigate. I don't believe any of this garbage. You find quite young girls fight back against attackers. There's one fairly recently, a few months ago, of a girl. She was sitting waiting for a bus or something in the middle of a green in the road, and this guy got out of a car and went chasing after her with a knife, and she realised what was happening and she fought him off. There's that one from Derby where a 12-year-old girl was attacked by a guy who was trying to steal her phone. You'll find that on. I include that in my video. These bitches are playing you. It was quite a shocking attack actually. She didn't fight him off, but he got, I think, he got 3 years for that. He should have got a lot more for robbing a 12-year-old like that. And somebody started a GoFundMe for her to buy a new phone, which well done. You one from Madison, Wisconsin, 1996. Cops clamp lid on false rape cases, just one of 5. Dane County prosecutors have charged a Madison prostitute with making a false rape report. The police have refused to release much information on 4 other fake rape cases, arguing it could make women afraid to report real sexual assaults. I've never seen the logic of that, but I'm not sure. I've got something very similar on the timeline. I've got false allegations from Madison, 1996. No, 1997. Please excuse the yawning. There's quite a few of those. There's some prairie. Yeah, definitely got that one. I'll keep this anyway. Where is it? I think I've got it in my other files, my holding directory for false rape. Oh, incidentally, Roger Graef, the film man, died the other day, and he produced I think it was a producer or director. It was a documentary in 1982 called A Complaint of Rape. You'll find it on the timeline. It was a young woman who made an allegation of gang rape in Reading. Sorry about the story. The yawning, can't avoid it. I won't bore you with details of my medical conditions, but I haven't been too good lately. And then there's a 5-minute clip, including parts of this woman being questioned by the police and Graef commenting on it. It's on the BBC website. I might download it if I can try to download it, and but the actual documentary isn't on certainly not on YouTube, because it was basically the sexual grievances had a lot of capital area, but this woman was seriously not right in the head, and she went with 2 or 3 blokes and had sex with them as women sometimes, certain women sometimes do. You'll find cases like that on the timeline of guys running a train on some slut. Some of them. I did a bit feel a bit sorry for them. It was Michelle Vine. She ended up with something like 3 or 4 year sentence for false rape allegations. But these guys were exploiting her. But she come, a bloke met her in Southampton where she lived. She went up to London. She go all over the place having sex with blokes, and she wasn't getting paid for it. And it's all very sordid, you know. I mean, would you want to have sex with a woman after she'd had sex with a little boy? Right, this is an older one. This wasn't a rape case, but it could have been. Or it could have been a child sexual abuse or grooming one. This is from the Express, I think it's the Daily Express. Yeah, Daily Express, November 9th, 1996, page 15. Head over heels for Sir. Girls in court for pestering gym teachers. From Jack C. in Paris. 2 French women, two words French women here, who relentlessly stalked 2 male teachers for 14 years, were yesterday ordered to get psychological counselling. Corinne Joannot and Patricia Petra, both 27, admitted they began hounding the gym masters almost as soon as they set eyes on them at school at the age of 13. This is I might include that on the timeline actually. I mean, if these guys had given in to them when they were younger, I actually did hear a case about this years ago of 2 sisters. I think they were twins. They were pestering an old bloke in his 60s or old, says the 65-year-old. They were pestering a bloke that was much older than them, and I think they were twins, and it was quite embarrassing really. They were obsessed with him. And this is, yeah, I might add that to the timeline as a warning. Yesterday the women smiled as Judge Jean Ducasse gave them a suspended sentence, presumably a suspended sentence each. But their smiles disappeared when they also fined them £6,000 in order to move out of the Toulouse area to give the 2 men some peace. What about these francs? So I mean that is a lot of these cases. That's what happened to Rolf Harris. I bet, you know, when that little tart who had his daughter's friend. I mean, and they what they did to that bloke is absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Prince Andrew, Rolf Harris. Almost like that Robert Hughes, that that Australian actor. Absolutely outrageous what these women do. What's this? This is some news bank. Oh, this is April last year. A woman has criticised police claims she was told, "You were not raped and you can't be pressured into sex," after she reported an alleged attack. In December 2020, Kelly Jones from Cardiff reported she was raped by somebody she thought of as a friend at his home. After the alleged assault, the 24-year-old says she immediately attended a sexual assault referral centre to obtain DNA samples, and some days later reported the incident. Kelly said that just after police received a report of alleged crimes, she received a phone call from the officer indicating, "You were not raped and you can't be pressured into sex." So I got quite angry, she says. So it probably turns out she's a 60-stone weightlifter, and this practice 7-stone cystic fibrosis sufferer. You don't know the details. You don't know the details of it. It may have been that, you know, when I talk about pressure, I don't know. Stay away from women like that. Stay away from them. This it may sound like a joke, but I can assure you it isn't. Easy's Promise. This is a training brochure. Easy's Promise is a charity organisation based in Dundee that offers free and confidential support services to ritual/organised abuse survivors, refugees, asylum seekers, ethnic minorities, and persons trafficked via rituals. Is his promise offers training and consultancy services, sharing our experience. Is his promise has over 10 years of experience delivering ritual abuse support training. As the only specialist organisation in the UK offering support to survivors of ritual stroke organised abuse. I mean, seriously. When they say ritual abuse, they mean satanic abuse. Laurie Matthew. Laurie has worked with survivors of ritual abuse for more than 30 years. For 15 years, she worked with Dundee Rape Crisis Centre. Oh dear. I mean, this Joseph Lumbussi. Joseph is a Kenyan, educated up to postgraduate level. A graduate in sociology and health research, he has worked in different sections of the economy. He's a media researcher specialising on issues surrounding cultural abuse, violation of human rights, female genital mutilation, trafficking of children and women. Now, actually, there have been in some places in Africa. There's a while ago there was some so-called muti murders in South Africa, but the Kenyan places like where you have the local witch doctor, all sorts of horrible things. There have been actually people, I think mostly kids, have been sacrificed. But I'm not sure there's much cause for that in Dundee. That's a charity. I mean, who funds these? I don't know. Just absolutely gaga. And here we have, this is Keegan Ali. What's the date on this? John Doe, petitioner and appellant, versus Keegan Ali. I think Keegan Ali, that's a school, isn't it? I think. Keegan Ali, PhD. No, this is Keegan Ali is it's a Title 9 case. Yeah, this is kid was expelled. This dates to 2014. Rowan Doe, accused of having inappropriate sexual relations with two other students, apparently. What's this? This is another lunatic case from Africa. I think it's from Africa. What have we got here? The National. Yeah, I think it's a Nigerian newspaper. So, not showing up for some reason. Yeah, this is from Nigeria. How I was raped 5 times by Iyabo Ojo. This is from last year. Popular Nollywood actress. Nollywood is the Nigerian Hollywood. There's Bollywood, which is India. There's Lollywood, which I think is Pakistan, and Nollywood is Nigeria. Don't ask me. Popular Nollywood actress Iyabo Ojo has shared how she was raped 5 times. She recalled the first incident was when she was just 14. I probably won't be including this on the timeline. I don't think she's damaged right. I was raped by Iyabo Ojo. It's Iyabo Ojo. I was raped. No, I won't include that on the timeline. It's just some stupid Nigerian actress trying to make some capital. That's about it. Other things I'd include, but I've got a couple of timeline hangouts lined up. But I think that'll do for now. Oh, just one more. This is quite interesting as well. Again, showing that women fight back. This is from Lipstick Alley, January the 9th this year. Oh, this is a teenage boy. Jogger used his martial arts training to fight off boy 18 who planned to strangle him with a rope belt and keep his body in the closet to fulfil his sexual fantasies. There's some really sick people out there. Logan Smith, 18, charged with attempted murder for allegedly trying to strangle male jogger as part of sexually motivated murder plot. I really don't know how Logan Smith. What really gets me is when they talk about this being male violence, as though any male I know would want to do something like that to another man, to a woman, to anyone. Anyway, that's the full fact timeline for that's the last of, that is the last of the backlog. Other a few old stories here which I'll blend in over the next few hangouts, but I hope the next one will be live, and if I can get some sort of turnout. Last ones were pretty gross. About 2 or 3 people turned up, but also I'm not sure about the StreamYard. I've been hanging out with other people on stream with Acnation, the amazing Acnation on StreamYard, but I'm not sure about using it myself. Right, so I'll get this sorted. Please check out the International Full Fact Timeline. If you want to send me cases, you know where to find me. I started a Patreon 6 years ago. I have not had one contribution to it. If anyone wants to make any donations towards the timeline, again, you know where to find me. PayPal, it's that man again at yahoo.com, or you can contact me direct and arrange for transfer to my diminutive bank account. But I'll be adding hopefully a few more cases. I've dug out a few older cases recently. I'm looking for modern stuff in languages other than English to fill it out, but okay, so that is hangout number 64.